Hello everyone, it's Olumayowa Victor Ogunshola from iDPS. iDPS means I diagnose and proffer solutions. Today's video is as a result of feedback we got from the video which we made with regards to the VARK learning styles. Your feedback to us was that that video was very interesting. However, it was more from a student or participant centered perspective. This is why we make this video also about the VARK learning styles, but this time around from a teacher's or facilitator or consultant perspective. Let's remind ourselves what the VARK learning model is, as we discussed in the first video. Remember, the VARK model was created by Neil Fleming in order to help students and industry professionals identify their learning preferences. That is, the question of how best do you learn? In the last video, as we explained, some of us are visual learners, that is, we learn when we see. Some of us are audio learners, we learn best when we hear. Some of us are read-write learners, we learn best when we read or we write. And some of us are kinesthetic learners, we learn best when we do, when we put actions on what we learn, and that's how best we learn. But are you a teacher, perhaps in any sector of education, secondary or university, or even primary education? Are you a consultant in the industry, that is, from time to time you gather people, you diagnose problems, and you proffer solutions, and you make presentations? Or are you a facilitator and you go about facilitating one workshop or the other most times? This video should be very useful for you as well. Do you ever consider your participants when you plan your lessons? That's a question for teachers. That's a question for consultants. That's a question for facilitators. Do you ensure that your sessions or your presentations promote equal opportunities and celebrate diversity? Or do you just plan your lesson one way and everybody has to learn that one way? This, again, is a question for teachers, is a question for consultants, and is a question for facilitators. So the advice or the best practice that we put forward for teachers, facilitators, and consultants is that when you plan your lesson, think about the visual learners. Therefore, embed pictures, embed diagrams, include movies, short clips from YouTube, or make short clips yourself and include that in your lesson, and therefore you have catered for the needs of the visual learners. When you include movies, when you include pictures, when you include diagrams, when you include perhaps role play in your workshops or in your classroom sessions, you have catered for visual learners. What about the auditory learners? How do you cater for them? For auditory learners, through verbal exposition. So when you are in your workshop session or you're in your classroom session, it could even be an online session, and you talk and explain things, you are catering for the needs of the auditory learners. It could also be a form of recorded audio, okay? So it could be that you record some audio and make an explanation of what you are about to teach or what the workshop is about, and you play that during the session, and therefore you are satisfying the needs of the auditory learner. What about the read-write learners? You need to make sure that you have handouts. You need to make sure that during the sessions you encourage the learners to write, to make a note, and this way you are catering for the needs of the read-write learners. What about the kinesthetic learners? You can involve role plays, you can involve experiments, you can involve activities that are practical and activities that demand that the learners or the participants would actually need to do some action. And this way you are satisfying the needs of the kinesthetic learners within your classroom session or workshop session. If you do this way that I've explained, you are successfully promoting equal opportunities and celebrating diversity within your classroom environment or within your workshop sessions. This simply means that you have identified the fact that learners have different ways of learning, and that the participants have different learning preferences. So include pictures, include movies, include diagrams, include role play, and you satisfy the needs of the visual learners within your workshops, within your classrooms, within your sessions. Include handouts, include text messages, include something that they have to read. Yeah, could be textbook, could be you referring them to read a certain page of the textbook and they come back to class to explain it. In this way, you have just combined strategies that will satisfy the read-write learners, because everybody's going to read, everybody's going to make notes, and at the same time you ask them to come back to the classroom to explain this. You have satisfied the needs of the auditory learners as well. The visual learners are seeing their mates as they explain. Okay, and lastly, again, the case for kinesthetic learners, always make sure that within your sessions you have practical activities where the students or the participants are actually busy with action, doing things. So that was the second part of the video, VARK learning styles. For those of you that gave that feedback about us making that video again, but this time around thinking about the teacher, thinking about the facilitators, thank you very much. That was indeed a very useful feedback. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, we want to hear from you. Please visit our website, www.idpsconsults.com. Let's know how we can serve you better. Or please send us an email at info@idpsconsults.com. We love to educate the world, and we want to do it in the most effective and efficient way. You know that I will not go until I talk about my passion. And my passion is that Africa must be united and Africa must develop. Therefore, I say, are you an African in any part of the world? Keep doing all you can do to promote African unity, and keep doing all you can to make sure that Africa must develop. In English language, I like to say, thank you very much. Dutch language from the Netherlands, I like to say, thank you well. Yoruba language from Nigeria, West Africa, I like to say, Eshio. Bye.